one-stop shop for the business of clearing of goods imported into the country that has become popular in the maritime industry. The bonded terminal or off-dock terminal offers the same services to importers of goods into Nigeria, the kind of service you get at the seaports. What gave rise to the establishment of the off-dock terminal? How does the terminal operate and what are its benefits, not just to port users, but to the country at large? We have answers to these questions and more as we place our searchlight on the bonded terminals in Nigeria. We also have other stories in our Tidbits segment of the program this week. The program is The Shipper, initiated by the nation's port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council. Please stay tuned as I'll be back shortly after this message. My name is Rekia Zikru Yagboyaju.
Nigerian Shippers Council, they to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
For you, we dey gidigba.
Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting now for the port of Nanir.
A very warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us on the program. Port congestion has remained one issue port users and other stakeholders have had to grapple with over the years.
The issue we are having in bonded terminal, some bonded terminal, we have a delayed transfer. That is what we are facing always. When shipping company directed the container, the ship to Tinkan, from Tinkan to transfer to the bonded terminal, we are having issue. Sometimes we are having issue, delayed transfer. Secondly, the road to transfer the container is very bad. And I have a truck that works with me. Sometimes the truck will fall on the road, spoiling somebody's people's goods.
Some who want to manipulate, we have problem. But normally, when you pay normal duty, you are free.
Some of the challenges we face in some of the bonded terminals that I have been to is that, number one, some don't have those equipments to work. That is one of the challenges. What I mean equipments, I mean things like forklift and all of that. Then two, some of them don't seem to have this conducive business environment around there to work, right? There are some bonded terminals that when you book for examination, you have to wait for like 2 days before those conditions are positioned. In cases where you have one container receiving transfers, one container dropping for positioning containers for examination, and the same plant for loading, those are things that hinder the ease of doing business in the bonded terminals. But since this new strength, this new vigor we're seeing with the Shippers Council, things are beginning to turn around for a good.
Government and other stakeholders have worked tirelessly to tackle this menace to ensure easy clearance of goods imported into the country. The establishment of off-dock terminals is part of measures by government in that regard. In this report, we'll tell you how this operates, its challenges and prospects. Lucy Olugbe is our guide.
Thousands of goods ranging from domestic and industrial find their ways into Nigeria. This development has made the nation import dependent. Apart from crude oil, which is Nigeria's major revenue earner, exports from the country has remained insignificant. These goods are brought into the country through various ports, especially Lagos, which accounts for over 70% of imports into Nigeria. Over the years, the nation has contended with congestion at the port, a situation where containers of goods flood the entry point of the port. Investigations revealed that some of the reasons identified as cause of congestion at the port include, but not limited to, false declaration by clearing agents, deplorable state of the roads, inadequate ICT infrastructure for documentation and processing of import documents. This has led to delay in turnaround time of vessels at the nation's harbour. It is against this background that government decided to create bonded terminals across the country for easy clearance of goods. The focus of the whole idea is to decongest the on-dock terminals, which is the seaport, and move the clearance of some of these goods to the off-dock terminals, that is, bonded terminals on the dry land.
If not that they have problems inside the port, nobody will remember off-dock terminals. You see, when they were to concession the port, they made us to understand that we are the mercy of the terminal operators. That is what the concessionaires did. We are not given any percentage. We are not accommodated in the scheme of things. And yet we are not phased out because they knew maybe over time there may be some problems for which they will need the off-dock terminals. So we have some cases on hand now. Some vessels will come and enter Nigerian territorial water, and they say it's going to dock at Apapa, and there is no space, maybe at APMT. Those vessels may line up for 13 days, 1 month. They can go back to Kobe, Japan, to return those consignments. The best in the circumstance is to approach the shipping company. Will say, Denka, do you have space to take this consignment? And we'll say, yes, we have space. Since the main port is filled up, they can drop those consignments at TICT or Port and Cargo, and we can now go there and carry.
The idea was first conceived in the 1980s when government established 2 dry ports in Kano and Kaduna. It was until the 1990s that the operations of bonded terminal became popular. The bonded terminal is a warehouse approved by the customs for temporary storage of imported goods. It has all features of on-dock terminal, that is the seaports, and these goods are kept in the warehouses until the owner is ready for clearance.
It has added a lot of value to the economy. For instance, let me take Fano for instance. Fano is closer to Ladipo, where these Igbo boys sell their pass. So most of them who has their cargoes here, it's easy picking it from here. Within 5, 10, 15 minutes drive, they are their warehouse. For those who are in Autopass, trade fair, you take your delivery here, you drive out here straight. Within 15, 20, 30 minutes or 1 hour at the most, if the road is clear, you are there. For those in Alaba International, we have a bonded terminal at AML, very close to them. We have other bonded terminals within Okoko Axis. We have bonded terminal within Abulado. So those within that axis, for instance, now that our roads are not accessible, most of us now resort through barge. The cargoes we bring in here, we take it from Apapa via barge to Brawa. Then from Brawa, we use trucking to bring it down here, which is, the road is shorter. From here, going from here to Apapa, you know what it means. Sending 100 trucks to Apapa and sending 100 trucks to my 2 jetty here or to Brawa. Is it not shorter? Likewise, the people in Aspanda, the people in Autopass, the people in Alaba, there's a waterfront from there down to at the back of Abuloshun. The people in AML, the people within Alaba, the people within that area, they go through that axis. Those in Alaba, the terminal within Okoko axis, they still use the waterfront, the bad at Yanoba. And it's easy for them to get to their destination. There are several ways in which it has added value to the nation's economy, because a lot of people come here, even transporters are here, it's helping to alleviate, but most of them, they can't access the ports. And since they can't access the port, you know what that means. I believe ICD has added value to the nation's economy, to the people at large.
In Lagos alone, there are 18 bonded terminals, while there are others spread all over the country, like Kaduna State. The establishment of these terminals has over time facilitated trade within and outside the country, as explained by the Deputy Controller, Nigeria Customs Service, Megari Abdu.
Our activities in the bonded terminals, first, to enforce the government's fiscal policies. We conduct physical examinations on all the consignments brought to us. I will make sure that we collected revenue, appropriate revenue on those goods. Also, in the course of our work, we always ensure that we do not delay work. Do our best in order to fight trade threats. It's one of the functions of us here.
To a certain extent, the emergence of dry ports has no doubt created wealth and job opportunities in the maritime industry. This has in no small measure created room for private participation in terminal operation and also reduced the activities of criminals at the ports.
The activities and function of the terminal are also as it is in the main port. For example, in the FCL terminal, containers are moved or transferred from the port to this bonded warehouse, and the proper examination are being carried out and the procedures are followed before the final release are done. And in the group paid warehouse, or the procedure is a little bit different, where you take a full container there, you need to strip the container into the warehouse. That means split into individual, because we know that group paid container or SCL container are container that's owned by more than 2 people, while FCL container are usually owned by 1 person. So the case of FCL now, you need to strip this container, label the cargo in the port, so individual will come to the port, to the warehouse, get attention of the custom officers, done the examination and done the final release. Number 1 purpose is to ease congestion in the port. Number 2 is also to create job. Number 3 is to create employment. The difference between creating employment and creating job is creating jobs allow people to start their own business. For example, people ordinarily will not be able to afford the high cost of bringing cargo by air will now go for SCL, so they can start their business and gradually they started growing. And it's also a lot of issues in the port will be eased when you get to terminal. The terminal are known to be doing 100% examination. That's another advantage there. We have bonded terminal across Nigeria. You have in Lagos, you have in Port Harcourt, you have in Kano, SCL in Kano, and you have in Kaduna. Yes, you have them all over Nigeria. But the group A containers are mostly where seaport are. There you only find them majorly in the Lagos and Port Harcourt. If Shipper Council will also help us to educate the shippers in Nigeria, mostly the shippers of group A containers, to let them make sure there is proper contract, offer and acceptance, and documented. It's not verbal, documented. If you are bringing cargo from China, try and make proper documentation. Try and make proper negotiation, so that when they say 1, when you get to Nigeria, it's 1.
The whole idea behind the establishment of this is for the ease of doing business in Nigeria and ensure that goods are cleared without much ado and in good time to avoid delay at the port.
That was the short course we'll tag Bonded Terminal 101. We hope you learned a lot from it. And now it's time to join Abike Idowu, who's standing by with tidbits.
Hello and welcome to Tidbits on your favorite maritime program, The Shipper. I am Abike Idowu. Did you know that transferring cargo from port to terminal without the consent of the consignee is not allowed? The Nigerian Shippers Council (NSC) made this known in September 2020 after a stakeholder meeting held at the council's headquarters in Lagos. Now, at a recent tripartite meeting between Rose Adama and Associates and Bolore Transport and Logistics and the council over a case of unfair charges, the head of complaint unit, Mr. Danjuma Buba, reminded the meeting of NSC's position on port charges.
Council took a position that yes, go ahead and take the cargo elsewhere, but please, the bill, the liability and the cost should not be on the consignee. And for your information, in September 2020, Council took a position and shared the cost. That we have two costs in the issue of transfers. Transfer to the jetty as one leg, then transfer from the jetty to the off-dock terminal as the second leg. The first leg to the jetty is bared by the terminal operators, while the second leg is allowed for the bonded terminal to charge the consignees.
So you see, you should keep abreast of regulations and make sure you are not unfairly charged. Of course, note that this only applies to cargoes that arrived after September 2020. Do not just forfeit your container deposits. You can actually get a refund if you know that you returned your container on time. Here is a letter of appreciation from Mr. Obina Ezeme, who tried to get a refund of his container deposit, but to no avail until he came to the council. Just make sure to keep all your documents and correspondences as evidence when you lodge your complaints. Let's now head on to global maritime news. Remember the dry bulk shipping super cycle in 2007-2008 when industry players believed the market had fundamentally changed? Well, with dry bulk freight rates and ship values currently at some of their highest levels since the market fell off a cliff in the second half of 2008, BIMCO chief analyst Peter Sand asked if we are starting to see another super cycle. For those who remember the heady days of 2007-2008 and the disastrous period of bankruptcies that followed, the reassuring answer from Sand is no. It is not another super cycle. In fact, it questions if it is even a cycle at all. A so-called super cycle refers to a sustained period of high and increasing prices, typically driven by strong demand and low supply. Yes, the dry bulk freight rates and ship values are currently high compared to the past 10 years, but they are still very far from earnings seen during 2007-2008, and there is little to suggest that they are heading that way, said Peter Sand. There are certainly many views about the cyclical nature of dry bulk shipping, but what is clear is that owners should be enjoying the current freight rates after the many years of poor earnings. At the same time, however, they should acknowledge that this is unlikely to be the start of a super cycle like the one we saw in 2007-2008. In Mexico, the Port of Corpus Christi Authority, PCCA, and Howard Midstream Energy Partners, Howard HEP, have signed a memorandum of understanding stating their intention to convert Howard's Javelina Refinery Service Facility into the region's first carbon-neutral hydrogen production facility. Note that Howard's Javelina facility is strategically positioned in the Port of Corpus Christi, PCC, with pipelines connectivity to all 6 of the local refineries. Ultimately, both parties hope to scale hydrogen production for exports to oversee demand centers and capture carbon emissions at Javelina, thereby avoiding atmospheric release which contributes to global warming. With this exciting project and progressive partnership with the Port of Corpus Christi, we are demonstrating yet again our commitment to delivering clean, reliable energy that powers communities and businesses around the world, said Mike Howard, HEP Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. So, Looks like the Port of Corpus Christi is uniquely suited to become the nation's premier carbon capture and sequestration management hub in the Gulf of Mexico. And on to our complaints register for the week. "14 complaints were received and they are all ongoing investigation. The types of complaints include vandalization of goods, debt recovery, transit shipment transfer, and container release. Now, don't forget to register as regulated service provider via the website www.shipperstradedata.gov.ng. And that's it on this week's Tidbits.
The Nigerian Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
That's our program on this day. Do remember, as a regulated service provider, to register at www.shipperstradedata.gov.ng. It is not optional. And that's it on The Shipper. Do have a swimmingly great week ahead. It was a pleasure to host you. Goodbye.